I thank you all so much for inviting me to come to the Women at the Well ministry. I always enjoy going to any ministry, to any school, to any church, to talk about something that's very dear to my heart, and that is domestic violence. So today we're going to be talking about exposing the secret and empowering the victim. Just to kind of give you a brief background on who I am, I'm Tamika Johnson-Hall, and I would say that the issue of domestic violence kind of fell on me. It wasn't something that I sought to go after. It, honestly, up until the age of 14, it wasn't something that I thought about. It really wasn't even something that I knew had a name. But at the age of 14, I found myself in an abusive relationship. And at 14, I didn't know what it was called. All of my friends were involved in violent relationships, and I really didn't have anybody telling me that what I was going through had a name, that what I was going through wasn't right. And all I knew is that it just didn't feel right. And so I stayed in the relationship for 2 years, and when my father, who was in the military at the time, when we came back to the Maryland area, I started interning with a local domestic violence agency. And it was then that I found out that what I'd been dealing with had a name, that it was called dating violence, and that being called names, being choked, those things weren't something that were supposed to feel good. Those weren't things that, it wasn't something that I was supposed to tolerate. It had a name. It was called dating violence. That was the first secret that was exposed in my life. And so after working with the domestic violence agency for about 2 or 3 years, even running a local agency in my area, I wrote my very first book. And the reason why I did that is because I realized that there wasn't anything out there that was putting a name to this. There wasn't anything out there that was exposing the secret. Now what I'm getting ready to do, let me come from around here, I'm getting ready to take you guys to church, literally. When you first came in, you were given a postcard. Everyone has a postcard. What I need for you to do is to pull it out. Thank you. Pull it out and look in the top right-hand corner. If you have a flower in your top right-hand corner, I need for you to stand up. Now, don't be afraid. I'm not going to ask you to give a speech or to do anything like that. But again, I am taking you to church and asking you to stand up. I want you to look around. Now, statistics tell us that for every 4 women that you know, at least one of them has been or will be a victim of domestic violence or dating violence sometime in their life. So again, look around, look at your sisters. The women that are standing up, these are the women that represent the 1 in 4 who may or will be, a victim of domestic violence in their life. That's just in this room. How many of us are in here? About 50, 60 women? Did you know that your sister may have been a victim of domestic violence? This is the reason why we do what we do. This is exposing part of that. So let's talk about the secret for a moment, because you've heard me say it many, many times, exposing the secret, and empowering the victim. You've heard me saying that many times today. Let's talk about what is the secret. Well, I'm going to tell you. There are those that think that with the statistics, for example, the one I gave you earlier that says for every 4 women that you know, at least one of them has been or will be a victim of domestic violence. But guess what? That's not the secret. Some might think the secret is that domestic violence costs employees, so it costs America literally billions of dollars every year in lost wages because women who have been beaten are put in the hospital and they are left out of commission for days at a time. Some might think that's the secret, but that isn't the secret. Some might believe that the secret is the fact that we have children. Millions of children are dealing with hearing their mommy and daddy fight, or they're dealing with hearing their father slap their mother, or they're hearing their mother who's in a drunken rage going after their father, the father who's supposed to be the symbol of pride and of strength. That might be the secret for some people, but that isn't what the secret is. The secret is that those that are held captive in domestic violence, those women, those men, those children, the secret is that they have the power to get out. That's the secret. And the secret is is that you don't have to stay bound. You don't have to stay in the same state that you're in. We always sing that song in church, that you don't have to leave the same way that you came in. Well, just because you've entered a relationship, and it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not, just because you're in a relationship does not mean that that person has the right, the God-given right to beat you, to make you feel less than, because God loves for people to be good stewards